Ladies and gentlemen, the latest session of the Council of Foreign Ministers of the Commonwealth of Independent States has come to an end. It was dedicated to preparations for tomorrow's summit of CIS heads of state, which take place here in Moscow. Today we worked through the agenda and approved documents submitted by foreign ministers, among them a document on the unacceptability of unilateral coercive measures, aka sanctions, the key parameters of the efforts to form the Eurasian security system, and cooperation in physical fitness and sports. This document is critical now that the principles of Olympism and fair competition are being called into question or just disregarded. We have approved the 2025 plan for ministerial consultations, which includes around 20 important topics. I'm confident it will help promote our cooperation and coordinate our initiatives in the international arena, including at the UN and the upcoming 29th Conference of the Participants in the UN Climate Change Conference to be held in Baku, Azerbaijan next month. The draft address to the peoples of the CIS countries and the international community on the upcoming 80th anniversary of victory in the Second World War and the Great Patriotic War stands out among the documents to be reviewed by the heads of state. Notably, a CIS title, 1941 to 1945 City of Labour Glory, was established. The concept of a draft program of cooperation of CIS member states in the field of de-radicalization is another project to be reviewed by our respective presidents and prime ministers tomorrow. This issue remains relevant because extremist ideologies persist despite efforts to curb them and fuel terrorism and other violent crimes. Several decisions were made to advance cooperation among our respective law enforcement agencies. A document on establishing domain-specific ties and cooperation in AI is an important innovation. There is a large block of cultural and humanitarian issues concerning youth cooperation and volunteer organizations. A separate decision suggests that the heads of state approve the CIS cultural capitals, namely Lakin, Azerbaijan in 2025, Megri, Armenia in 2026, and Molodechno, Belarus in 2027. Question: the West is putting the heat on the CIS countries when it comes to sanctions on Russia. How are you coping with these challenges? How effective do you think is this Western approach as they try to inflict a defeat on Russia? Sergey Lavrov. I can say right away that we are coping well. The Western methods are met with rejection by all other countries, including in the post-Soviet space. The illegal practice of imposing secondary or tertiary sanctions, where someone doesn't like it when two independent countries are building relations with each other, has nothing to do with international law. Every step we take to not just preserve, but to expand trade and economic ties with our strategic partners and allies fully aligns with the norms of international law. They are talking about fair competition, market mechanisms, and inviolability of property. All these pillars of globalization were promoted by the West as eternal, but have been trampled upon by the West itself. Honest and fair principles of interaction between our countries have always been there and are still there. Question: you have covered extensively the issue of a multipolar world within the global majority. How does this principle get implemented in the CIS? What are the threats to stability of our relations with our friends from the CIS? Sergey Lavrov. A center of a multipolar world is forming, I would even say has already formed, within the CIS countries. A nascent entity, many aspects of which have become part of everyday international life. The Commonwealth of Independent States and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization are an important, I would even say central part of Eurasia. The CIS and SCO memberships largely overlap, which fact accounts for close cooperation between these two organizations, and this cooperation expands and gets more specific every year. The CIS and the SCO being so closely intertwined ensures interaction between the three largest Eurasian states, namely the Russian Federation, the People's Republic of China, and India. These associations boast an immense economic, logistical, and creative potential. Each year it materializes in even more specific projects that benefit our member countries and contribute to the prosperity of our peoples. These relations face no threats, and they are quite steady despite the United States and its satellites' efforts to expand their secondary, tertiary, and other unlawful sanctions. We know what we need to do to oppose these hostile and criminal attacks and to act strictly in accordance with international law and the norms of the World Trade Organization. We are deploying steady efforts to expand the economy of each CIS country. their GDP and bilateral trade are up, as are investment and other economic means.